Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to the weekend preview. Coming to you from Anglesey. Shorty's on a day off. He's cruising down the Great Ocean Road with some of these bad boys. It's getting... Anyway, that's just a little insight to Shorty's day off. I think I cut myself off there. But anyway, talking SuperCoach, I've pretty much bunkered down, ladies and gentlemen. I've hidden away. The buyers have treated me poorly. I had a poor first up week, didn't suffer too much in the rankings, poor second week, and again, I look like I'm going to have a stinker. I think I'm fielding 17, and I don't think it's even been because of poor management. I mean, potentially some trades could have been better weighted to a buy structure, but by the same token, what are you missing out on by maybe going elsewhere and avoiding maybe the first picked player going to second because he's slightly better buy-wise? I mean, I'd like to think that once my team gets out of these buys that I'll be looking really good. So I traded in Hurley for Bailey Rice, Banfield down to the young academy boy Dawson. I think if he can get off to a reasonable start in his career, he should hopefully get plenty of opportunity at the Suns. And my other trade was Henry, who had really peaked and he dropped slightly. And then I moved him up to Robbie Gray. So, look, I think reasonable trades. Where will that leave me at the end of the buys? Basically needing one upgrade, and I think they'll be in the forward line. And what's been disappointing is that, like, even this week I've got 7 forwards playing, so I've got like 3 or 4 donuts in the back line. I've got an extra in my forward line, but I can't utilise it. So, you know, some people probably have been really good with their dual position players, but I'm one for, you know, the cards fall where they do. If you line up with a few dual position players, then that's great. I don't think we always have the option of saying, well, look, I'm going to get a dual position player in. You've got to go with what is the best pick at that time. So, look, moral of the story is I haven't really given SuperCoach a great deal of thought this week or the last couple. I have moved in to my new place in Geelong, which some people may have known. I've mentioned it a couple of times. But yeah, to be fair, I'm probably not the best source of information at the moment. All you can really do in this final buy round, which is, I've said for a couple of weeks now, is do what's best for your team. I mean, I've reeled off a couple of guys that are good options in previous weeks, but I think we all know who we're targeting now. Clearly bringing guys who have had their buy and set yourself up for the rest of the season. Once we get out of these buys, Shorty will hit the books and you'll get back into it and we'll be, you know, raring to go for what will hopefully be a really good last 9 or 10 weeks or whatever it is. I think my team has come up really well. I've landed most of the guys I've wanted. We've got a few guys coming back. You know, Cornelio's back in the side. You know, I feel like the forward line has caused me a huge amount of pain. At the start of the season, it was the one area of the ground that I didn't have confidence in. I went with guys like Billings, Wingard and Petrarca, and they've all failed me, and they've all really meant that I've had to do a lot of patchwork in my forward line. So I finally feel across the whole ground I've rid of myself of a lot of crap, and I've got rid of a lot of players who have just not been performing or been really inconsistent, and I think I've landed on some really good options, and I'm really confident in my side. Obviously, at this stage of the season, it's often not about getting in who is averaging the most at the moment, but where you think they'll average for the rest of the season. I think we often see players run hot throughout different stages of the season, so it's worth being mindful of not bringing in a guy just because he's been red hot for the first half of the season and paying top dollar, because unless they're the best of the very best, most likely outcome is that they will not go down, but plateau or have a slight drop off in their form, because I'm often wary of picking guys who not are hot, but have been hot for an extended period of time. They're up to 600 to 650k. I sort of feel as if, well, some sort of a slump, unless you're an at 5 or a Dangerfield or something like that, surely is sooner rather than later. But that's just a bit of a theory I have, something to keep in mind. But yeah, look, hopefully you've set your team up really well. Obviously, normally I would go in a little bit more detail, a bit more teamwork, but I've still sort of been moving a few things here and there with the house, and you know, it's just been fairly busy. And I think it was about 2 degrees in Ballarat when I woke up on a couple of mornings. It was absolutely terrible. So Friday rolled round, I'm in Geelong, the sun's out, so I thought I'm hitting the road. So here I am down at Anglesea Footy Club, might whack the boots on, have a bit of a kick, and I think that should be a reasonable day for Shorty. But quick shout out to Jono as well. Thanks for saying g'day, mate. He's a fella that lives around Ballarat and I often see at work when I'm floating around certain jobs. So thanks for saying g'day, mate. Always good to have a chat and hopefully have a better week than the last couple. He was mentioning a fairly poor couple of weeks from him, but hopefully he gets back in form, and hopefully the Saints, he was pretty up and about with the Saints last week. So yeah, as I often say, if you see me floating around, feel free to say g'day, because it's always good to have a chat and talk a bit of SuperCoach, unless I'm having a howler. No, it's just mucking around. But look, hopefully Shorty Superstars can respond, because I really do feel like I was starting to find some form and build, and then I've hit these buys, and it's just been a combination of getting injuries at the wrong time on the wrong buy round, getting other sort of issues that were already going to be a tough week for me, and the odd poor trade, a cash cow that maybe has been dropped a little sooner than I would have thought, a la Smith, a la Ridley, things like that. So Lockie Murphy, maybe another one. So look, that's where I'm at. Really confident. It's tough sometimes to get your way through the buys. You often see in SuperCoach the drop-off in participation and interest always is around the buys. You see it just in general conversation. You see it in how many people view my videos. They always hit the buys, and it always starts to go down. It's just a natural drop-off. But look, try and hang in there. I think it's only natural for the buys to hit us fairly hard, and for it to be, well, it's quite easy to look at it and go, God, I put all this work into the team the first half of the season. Now it's just gone down the toilet. Look, try and hang in there, and if anything, just don't lose ground. And at the moment, I'm sitting break even in terms of rankings from when I entered. I wanted to get up. I wanted to hit the top 10K. That hasn't happened, but as long as you can't lose ground or don't lose ground, that's the main thing. So I think we get that reprieve once we get everyone back, and after a few weeks of struggle, we all of a sudden go, hang on, my team's actually not that bad. It's just I've had bloody pricks missing every week. So it is tough to see the end of the road sometimes in what is a grueling 3-week period. Hopefully the buys aren't around forever, because they do make SuperCoach very, very difficult. But hey, it's a lot better than the old days where we used to have teams missing each week. That was an utter nightmare. But anyway, a bit of a more general SuperCoach video from Shorty this week. If you're looking for some information and some advice, well, you've probably come to the wrong place. I haven't given you too much. But look, hopefully it's been entertaining. Hopefully you've related a couple of things I've said. And hopefully, like myself, we can get up and have a reasonable week over the weekend. But yeah, stay tuned for more SuperCoach videos, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.